The Trump dynasty is riddled with bewildering and controversial stories, and Donald Trump Jr., the eldest son of the former president, is no exception. Known for his sharp tongue and business acumen, Trump Jr.'s personal life, particularly his marriage to Vanessa Trump, has often been the subject of public scrutiny. The Trump men have long been infamous for their reputation as womanizers, frequently accused of misogynistic behavior, extramarital affairs, and maintaining a facade while turmoil brews behind the scenes. Donald Trump Jr. is no stranger to controversy, especially when it comes to his personal affairs. His nearly 13-year marriage to Vanessa was marked by numerous challenges, yet he seemed to take them in stride, much like his father. Despite accusations of frugality, a wandering eye, and incendiary tweets, he and Vanessa continued to build a family, welcoming 5 children together. Vanessa, on her part, appeared to embrace the role of the devoted homemaker, standing by her husband's side through every scandalous headline while dedicating herself to raising their children. However, the marriage eventually reached its breaking point, leading Vanessa to file for divorce, marking the end of their tumultuous relationship. The Trump family's complex web of marriages, divorces, and remarriages has fascinated the public for years, and Donald Trump Jr.'s union with Vanessa Trump is no exception. As we delve into the details of their relationship, it's clear that some of the most peculiar aspects of their marriage only came to light after it ended. Here's a look back at the unusual and often overlooked elements of Donald Trump Jr. and Vanessa Trump's marriage that went unnoticed until their story came to a close. Donald Trump Jr. and Vanessa Trump's journey to romance began with a less-than-perfect first encounter, setting the stage for a relationship that would eventually capture public attention. At the time, Vanessa was a model navigating the fashion world, while Donald Jr. was a businessman poised to inherit a vast fortune. It might seem like the perfect setup for a classic love story, but their initial meeting was far from it. The two were introduced under rather awkward circumstances, with Donald Trump Sr. playing an uncharacteristic role as a matchmaker. In an interview with the New York Times, Vanessa recounted the fateful moment when she first crossed paths with her future husband, thanks to a push from her future father-in-law. The setting was a glamorous fashion show, where Vanessa, surrounded by the glitz and glamour of the runway, found herself approached by Donald Trump Sr., who had his son in tow. According to Vanessa, the elder Trump walked up to her with the unmistakable confidence he's known for and introduced himself before turning the spotlight to his son. "Hi, I'm Donald Trump. I wanted to introduce you to my son, Donald Trump Jr.," she recalled. What followed was a brief and uncomfortable conversation between her and Donald Jr., marked more by the pressure of the introduction than by any genuine connection. The exchange ended as quickly as it began, with both parties likely feeling relieved when the conversation was over. However, Donald Trump Sr. wasn't ready to give up just yet. As the fashion show proceeded, he once again approached Vanessa, seemingly forgetting or ignoring that he had already introduced her to his son. "I don't think you've met my son, Donald Trump Jr.," he said, prompting Vanessa to respond with a mix of politeness and exasperation. "Yeah, we just met 5 minutes ago." This second attempt at matchmaking was just as awkward as the first, leaving no indication that this initial encounter would lead to anything more. Weeks passed, and the awkward introduction might have been forgotten entirely if not for a chance meeting between Vanessa and Donald Jr. while they were out with mutual friends. This time, the environment was more relaxed, and the two found themselves engaged in conversation for about an hour. It wasn't until later that they realized they had met before, an awkward memory that eventually became something they could laugh about together. This second encounter, free from the pressures of an orchestrated introduction, allowed them to connect on a more genuine level. Despite the eventual bond that formed, Donald Jr. later admitted that he wasn't entirely thrilled about his father's involvement in his romantic life. "It wasn't really my M.O. to have my father try to pick up girls for me," he confessed, hinting at the discomfort he felt during that initial meeting. Yet, despite the rocky start, this unlikely pairing would go on to build a life together, navigating the public eye and the pressures that come with being part of the Trump family. Their marriage, though not without its challenges, would last nearly 13 years, producing 5 children and plenty of tabloid headlines before it ultimately came to an end. It didn't take long for Donald Trump Jr. to propose to Vanessa Trump, but the proposal itself was anything but traditional or romantic. The story behind their engagement is as unconventional as the couple themselves, steeped in both practicality and a touch of the Trump family's trademark flair for the public eye. The proposal took place in November 2004, and while many might expect an heir to the Trump fortune to orchestrate a grand and luxurious moment, Donald Jr. opted for something far more subdued. He chose to pop the question in a New Jersey mall, specifically the Short Hills Mall, a location more associated with weekend shopping trips than life-changing proposals. The setting was far from the romantic backdrop one might envision for such an occasion, but what made the moment even more unusual was the presence of television crews and photographers, invited to capture the event as part of a promotional deal. Donald Trump Jr. had managed to secure the engagement ring, a 4-carat emerald-cut diamond worth $100,000, through a promotional agreement with the jewelry dealer Bailey, Banks and Biddle. Allegedly, the ring came at no cost to him, which aligned with his growing reputation as a notorious cheapskate. The deal was likely arranged to give the jeweler publicity in exchange for the pricey piece of jewelry. In the end, the public nature of the proposal, combined with the less-than-romantic location, led to an engagement that was more about the spectacle than the sentiment. Despite the unconventional setting, Vanessa Trump was all smiles as she accepted the proposal, proudly displaying her dazzling ring to the cameras. The fact that their engagement was part of a promotional deal didn't seem to dampen her enthusiasm. Still, the circumstances surrounding the proposal raised eyebrows, especially within the Trump family. While a representative for Bailey, Banks, and Biddle declined to comment on the specifics of their agreement with Donald Jr., insiders speculated that the arrangement mirrored deals his father had made in the past. For instance, the elder Trump had a lucrative product placement deal with the luxury jeweler Graf, who provided the engagement ring for his marriage to Melania Trump. This ring was prominently featured on Trump's hit reality show, The Apprentice, giving Graf significant exposure. Donald Trump Sr., however, wasn't entirely pleased with his son's decision to accept a free engagement ring. During an interview with Larry King Live, the former president reportedly expressed his disapproval, advising his son to be more cautious with such deals. "You have a name that is hot as a pistol, you have to be very careful with things like that," Trump Sr. remarked, pointing out the potential risks of leveraging the Trump name for such arrangements. Despite the less-than-romantic proposal and the controversy surrounding the engagement ring, Donald Jr. and Vanessa moved forward with their wedding plans. The proposal, while unconventional, was just the beginning of a marriage that would be filled with both public scrutiny and private challenges. Their relationship, much like their engagement, was marked by a blend of high-profile moments and underlying tension, ultimately leading to their eventual separation after nearly 13 years of marriage. The Playboy Mansion isn't exactly the first destination that comes to mind for expectant mothers. But in the Trump family, things are often far from ordinary. In a resurfaced 2007 interview with Donald Trump Jr. on The Adam Carolla Show, boundaries were pushed as the businessman openly vented about the awkwardness of having his then-pregnant wife join him at Hugh Hefner's infamous party hub. The Huffington Post, referencing a transcript preserved by the Internet Archive, revealed the conversation, which was as uncomfortable as one might expect. "Can you believe what I'm going through? I'm at the Playboy Mansion with a pregnant wife," Trump Jr. exclaimed during the show, just 4 months before Vanessa gave birth. "It doesn't get much worse than that, does it? Now, I love my wife, but that is rough. And I'm going to pay for these statements later on tonight. I'm gonna pay."